रेडियो इंडिया KRPA 1110 AM सुनने वाले सारे ਸਰੋਤਿਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਦੋਸਤ ਜਸਵਿੰਦਰ ਸਿੰਘ ਦਲਾਵਰੀ ਵੱਲੋਂ ਇੱਕ ਵਾਰ ਫੇਰ ਤੋਂ ਪ੍ਰੋਗਰਾਮ ਵਿਚਾਰ ਚਰਚਾ ਦੇ ਅਗਲੇ ਸੈਗਮੈਂਟ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਬਹੁਤ ਬਹੁਤ ਸਵਾਗਤ ਹੈ। ਨਿੱਘੀ ਜੀ ਆਇਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਦੋਸਤੋ, ਅੱਜ ਅਸੀਂ ਗੱਲਬਾਤ ਕਰਾਂਗੇ ਸਰੀ ਪੁਲਿਸ ਫੋਰਸ ਦੇ ਉੱਪਰ ਕੀਤੇ ਗਏ ਰੈਫਰੈਂਡਮ ਦੀ, ਜਿਸ ਦੇ ਮੁਤਾਬਿਕ ਸਰੀ ਦੇ ਰਹਿਣ ਵਾਲੇ ਲਗਭਗ 42,942 ਵਿਅਕਤੀਆਂ ਨੇ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਹੈ ਸਰੀ ਪੁਲਿਸ ਦੇ ਖਿਲਾਫ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਹੈ ਦਸਤਖਤੀ ਮੁਹਿੰਮ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਦਸਤਖਤ ਕੀਤੇ ਹਨ ਔਰ RCMP ਨੂੰ ਸਰੀ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਰੱਖਣ ਦੇ ਲਈ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਹੈ ਆਪਣੀ ਰਾਏ ਦਿੱਤੀ ਹੈ। ਔਰ ਇਸ ਮੁੱਦੇ ਦੇ ਉੱਪਰ ਗੱਲਬਾਤ ਕਰਾਂਗੇ ਅਸੀਂ ਇਵਾਨ ਸਕਾਟ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ, ਜਿਹੜੇ ਕਿ ਕੀਪ ਦਾ RCMP ਇਨ ਸਰੀ ਕੈਂਪੇਨ ਦੇ ਸੰਸਥਾਪਕ ਨੇ, ਟੀਮ ਲੀਡਰ ਨੇ, ਓਰੀਜਿਨੇਟਰ ਨੇ। ਉਹ ਸਾਡੇ ਰੇਡੀਓ ਇੰਡੀਆ ਦੇ ਸਰੀ ਸਟੂਡੀਓ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਉਚੇਚੇ ਤੌਰ ਤੇ ਪਹੁੰਚ ਚੁੱਕੇ ਨੇ ਇਸ ਮੁੱਦੇ ਤੇ ਗੱਲਬਾਤ ਕਰਨ ਦੇ ਲਈ। ਨਾਲ ਹੀ ਨਾਲ ਸਾਡੇ ਕੋਲ ਸਰੀ ਸਿਟੀ ਕੌਂਸਲ ਦੇ ਕੌਂਸਲਰ ਬ੍ਰੈਂਡਾ ਲੌਕ ਵੀ ਰੇਡੀਓ ਇੰਡੀਆ ਦੇ ਸਰੀ ਸਥਿਤ ਸਟੂਡੀਓ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਪਹੁੰਚ ਚੁੱਕੇ ਨੇ। ਬ੍ਰੈਂਡਾ ਲੌਕ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਵੀ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੀ ਇਸ ਮੁੱਦੇ ਦੇ ਉੱਪਰ ਕੀ ਰਾਏ ਹੈ ਉਹਦੇ ਬਾਰੇ ਗੱਲਬਾਤ ਕਰਾਂਗੇ ਔਰ ਉਸ ਤੋਂ ਇਲਾਵਾ ਹੋਰ ਬਹੁਤ ਸਾਰੇ ਜਿਹੜੀਆਂ ਗੱਲਾਂ ਬਾਤਾਂ ਨੇ ਬ੍ਰੈਂਡਾ ਲੌਕ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਸਿਟੀ ਆਫ ਸਰੀ ਬਾਰੇ ਕੀਤੀਆਂ ਜਾਣਗੀਆਂ। ਸੋ ਇਹ ਗੱਲਬਾਤ ਬੜੀ ਦਿਲਚਸਪ ਹੋਣ ਜਾ ਰਹੀ ਹੈ ਔਰ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਅਗਰ ਇਸ ਪ੍ਰੋਗਰਾਮ ਦਾ ਹਿੱਸਾ बनना चाहते हो तो तुसी स्टूडियो दे नंबर 6045929191 604-592-9191 ते तुसी कॉल करके अपना कोई भी प्रश्न पूछ सकते हो और इस जिहड़ी है विचार चर्चा ओदा हिस्सा बन सकते हो। इवान स्कॉट, वेलकम टू द शो and good morning. Brenda, welcome to the show and good morning, and thank you very much for coming to the studio to be a part of the show.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure.
Thank you, Jaswinder. I appreciate that as well.
Yeah, Evan, I will start from you. So there is a news item in almost all the news stories that the campaigning that you were running to keep the RCMP in Surrey, so you got around 42,942 signatures from the residents of Surrey, and then you submitted these signatures to BC elections. But BC elections, they have conveyed to you that you must have received 10% of the signatures from all the constituencies of Surrey. There are around 87 constituencies in Surrey, and what you have to say about this?
Well, that's absolutely true, Jaswinder. What happened is that we did get the nearly 43,000 signatures, and we put it together and took it across to Elections BC in Victoria on I think it was Monday, and they virtually came out immediately and said that because we had not had sufficient numbers coming from the whole of British Columbia, they wouldn't recognize this as a official submission.
Mm-hmm.
We understood this right from the beginning, Jaswinder. My campaign is a subsidiary, not a subsidiary, but a supportive group to the Surrey police vote. Who is the proponent there is Darlene Bennett, and Bill Tillman is running this campaign from there. So I'm not speaking on their behalf. I can't do that. I can just speak on behalf of being a supporter of this and my understanding of what happened.
Mm-hmm.
But in the beginning, Mr. Tillman actually put out very, very clearly that we would not be going for all 87 ridings because it was an impossibility. Mm-hmm. First of all, as a huge as that, and that other people in the province are not really concerned or worried about what's happening down in Surrey, and so we would never have attained any type of that numbers down there. So what they did is they concentrated on Surrey itself, because there is another form of legislature for a referendum, and we went for this as hard as we could, and during the time that they gave us the 90 days to collect signatures, we collected nearly 13% of citizens of Surrey signing, which is quite a remarkable amount of people when you take and you're assuming that this is now a representative example of citizens in Surrey. And so we went across there with eyes wide open that this would probably occur, but we're hoping that the government will listen to this or see this in some way, shape or form, and invoke the legislature and the new invoke a new.
Well, it's actually legislation that the Executive Council, so Cabinet, can introduce. I actually asked for a vote on that during the sitting of the spring. Mm-hmm. That the city asked for that, just to make sure, for once and for all, the residents had their say, and I think that's really what this is all about.
Brenda, the thing is that BC elections, so they did not recognize this referendum.
Yes, but talk about a very, very clear message to every single MLA in Surrey.
Okay.
They have to know.
Okay, let us come to that. While talking to you off the air, Scott, you told me that there are around 318,000 voters in Surrey, and you got around 42,942 signatures. That comes out to be 13.5% of the total voters in Surrey. Now the thing is that my question is to you. The news reports are that Dinah Vars is in the support of this group, and Linda Hepner is supporting the group, even Ken Hardy is supporting the group. What about the MLAs from Surrey, the MLAs from NDP, and what about the other MPs, and what about the BC Liberal leaders like Kevin Falcon and Michael Lee? So in this program, so I was discussing with my fellow senior journalists that only you people are advocating to keep the RCMP in Surrey, but the councillors, other than Jack Hundal and Brenda Locke, the councillors are silent, and the MPs, the Member of Parliament, they are totally silent. They are not saying even a single word, neither in support nor in opposition. And most surprisingly, all the MLAs in Surrey, so you people are talking about Surrey, and these representatives, elected representatives, they are not saying anything. And Kevin Falcon was here on the show, and he discussed with me for 1 hour all the different aspects, all the different issues, but he did not comment anything on this issue. He said this is a City of Surrey issue. So what do you think about all these politicians? First of all, I want to know from Avan, and then I will have input from Brenda, because I'm an onlooker. I'm sitting on the other side of the table, and for me as a journalist, it's totally surprising. 6-7 MLAs from Surrey, 4 MPs from Surrey, and the other councillors, they don't say anything. And you got 42,942 signatures. This is not a small amount, 13.5%.
Thank you, Jaswinder. I am absolutely astounded or disgusted, in actual fact, by the silence of all the politicians, apart from the politicians that Brenda represents. And this is amazing, because what the petition was for was to invoke a referendum so that people could democratically give their voice to something that concerns them, really concerns them. I sent out some letters to the MLAs saying to them, where do you stand on this point? This is absolute democracy, and I have not seen any one of you saying, yes, this is a good idea. People need to say what they want, what they want, and be allowed to say that. And these people got voted in democratically, but they've now been absolutely quiet about democracy itself. So this just strikes me as hypocrisy. I've no idea why any one of them, you talk about there's 9 ridings, so there's probably 9 MLAs in Surrey. There's 4 or 5 MPs. And yes, but it astounded me, and I'm absolutely disgusted by it.
So 4 MPs are from Liberals and 1 is from Conservative, Carrie Lynn Findlay, and Ken Hardy has extended his support towards you, but all the other 4 MPs, they are just silent.
Absolutely.
They are not saying anything. And you have a majority of the MLAs from BC NDP and 1 MLA from BC Liberals. They are not saying anything.
Absolutely not, and I can't understand.
So it means they don't need the support of these 42,942 voters.
Well, we got another thought for them coming, because when people see this sitting on the fence, or not even being on the fence, or saying that they are on the fence, people are not going to support these in future. And I can tell you right now that when it comes down to the next elections, wherever they're going to be, people have got long memories, and they understand that this is going to happen, and a lot of these people are going to be out in their ears.
Then these people should go to their elected representatives and they should ask them.
Of course, everybody should do that.
Yeah. Now, Brenda, coming to you, why I'm asking you this, because I know that your affiliation was with BC Liberals. You have run for that MLA position. So Kevin Falcon and Michael Lee, they are totally silent on the issue. And I believe that Surrey, whenever we discuss, we say that Surrey is going to surpass Vancouver in 2025. Surrey is the most happening place. Surrey is the most fast-growing place. So many developments, so much business, so much money, so much economical power. But don't you think that all these leaders are ignoring the city of Surrey?
I don't think they're ignoring the city of Surrey, but I do think that they're trying to ignore this issue. They are concerned, and they are running for a nomination. And Jaswinder,
they're playing safe.
They're playing safe in a nomination. It's way different than during an election. I do think, though, if I remember correctly, Carrie Lynn Findlay did step up. She certainly asked for the process to be more transparent. And that's one of the things that we have seen throughout this whole process, that it's been very flawed. And I think Carrie Lynn Findlay has stood up to that, as has John Aldag. But John Aldag is new, and so he hasn't really been in the mix that much. But I do think that absolutely, and you can count Ellis Ross in that as well. They're all playing cautious.
But Brenda, listen, Diana Watts was the mayor of city of Surrey.
Yes.
She was member of parliament, and now she is the main co-chair for Kevin Falcon. She is in support of keep the RCMP in Surrey. She is with you. She is supporting you. She is meeting Evan Scott and his organizers. She's, openly supporting. But Kevin Falcon is not saying anything. Michael Lee, I contacted him so many number of times through email, through phone, through text messages, through WhatsApp messages. He is not ready to say even a single word. So what about these 42,942 people? They don't exist in Surrey?
Well, this was the ultimate in grassroots democracy, and I think for every single one of them, for every single NDP MLA, for every single leader that's running for the BC Liberal Party right now, they better step up and be counted. This is time for them to stand up and say what's on their mind. And as Ivan said, this is just to have their democratic process invoked. This is not to say whether it's the RCMP or the police. This is just to pick a lane. Do you want to have your voice?
Brenda, the thing is that why I'm asking you, you are not answerable on any other one's behalf. Why I'm asking you, because of your affiliation with BC Liberals. We have a report, in newspapers that, this organization is going to BC NDP MLAs and going to ask them their stand about this, because the number is a huge number, 42,942. I'm just asking you, because of your affiliation with BC Liberals, that why your leaders who are going to run, they are not even able to come on air. Kevin Falcon was here in person in the studio. He was with me for an hour. So we discussed some other issues and all that, but this issue was just no comments. And Michael Lee, he is not bothering to come on air. He's not commenting. I don't know that, they are running for the leadership race, and if they are not accessible to media, if they are not able to listen to the concerns of these 42,000 residents of Surrey, then for whom they are running for the leadership race?
Well, I'm sure that for many, many people, 42,000 plus people came as a big surprise. And so I think they're all going to be reassessing their position. Certainly, I'm positive that nobody ever dreamed that this campaign would get to the significant numbers that it did.
I will come back to you. Evan?
Yes, sir.
So 42,942. So they don't have any value? They don't have any respect?
That's a good way of putting it. I don't think they have, to us and to the 42,000 and to the rest of Surrey, they have absolute value. And I don't think that people have appreciated the groundswell that has come in the last 2 or 3 years about how government is treating its citizens. In actual fact, the government works for citizens. The citizens don't work for the government. And this is where this whole thing is starting to fall to pieces. And as soon as people become accountable, and people like McCallum are called to task on what he should be doing and as opposed to what he is doing, I think that this is a very, very angry group of people. I think it goes across every spectrum, every person that we've talked to, whatever shade or colour or person is that they are, age or whatever it is, they are totally disenchanted with the way that this thing is going. And once this was just suddenly when Elections BC said, well, we're not going to do it, everybody, I had hundreds of emails coming to me and saying, this is a travesty, we have to do something more about it, and we have to now get a groundswell and maybe even another political party to support getting these people either on side or out of there.
Ivan, but it's a very sad affair that the community has been divided on this issue.
It is a sad affair that people are divided, and I think, as we said once before, it's okay for people to be divided in something like that, but it's got to the point where it's actually becoming harmful the way that division is here. And we're a non-political group here, which all we want is the people of Surrey to have a voice and to make a change. And we've never promoted division here, but other people have taken it to themselves and are pushing division around, whereas I'm a bad guy, that guy's a bad guy, this person's a bad guy. The intimidation and the influence that a lot of these people have is sad in actual fact.
Ivan, so many listeners are listening to this program, and I'm sure that some people are going to record this program.
Sure.
But bluntly, I'm going to say that some of your critics, they say that you are doing this because of some political agenda. Now listen to me. So they are saying that you are doing this because of some political agenda. You have some hidden political agenda. Like there is another organization called as Wake Up Surrey. So the Wake Up Surrey, which is supporting Surrey Police Service. So Wake Up Surrey is run by most of the Punjabi community people, South Asian people, and they started this organization just to help the people and make the awareness for gun and drug violence and all that. And after that, they fielded a candidate for Member of Parliament in Surrey Newton. So that person is a radio host, and he was also part of Wake Up Surrey. So the cat came out of the bag, and their agenda was known when they fielded a political candidate, and they were saying that they will never come into politics. Similarly, the people say that because I asked you that are you going to run for MLA or councillor, do you have any political ambitions? You said no, but you're the people who says that this group is just having some political agenda, and they are polarizing their sport in order to make a pressure group in the next civic elections. And you have Brenda Locke and Jack Hundal as a part of that political pressure group, and you have Dinah Watts, Linda Hepner, all that. And what you have to say about this?
Well, that's very interesting that you should say that. And yes, we do have a lot of supporters, and when we the time that we took our 50,000 petition earlier on a year ago to Mr. Horgan's offices, we had pictures of supporters, and Diane Watson, Linda Hepner, and Brenda signed it, and Jack signed it, and Bob Bose signed it, and we had everybody else that we could think of that was supporting us. And sure, just to get back to your point, do I have any political agenda about running for anything? Absolutely not, Jaswinder. I'm not interested in getting into. I'm too old to sort of that sort of thing. This is a younger man's thing. This is just something that I believe that we need to do, and it's something that I've seen that people are yearning for. And I got into it because I wanted to make a bit of a difference. I have no intention of running for any type of political office whatsoever. I will support people who support us to the 100%. Absolutely, yes. If I'm going to support Brenda and her group in the next municipal elector, I'll give it my 100% support.
Okay, Brenda. Yesterday, Honorable Mayor Douglas McCallum, so he said that this group does not mean anything, so they got these signatures, but BC elections did not recognize it. My question to you that Douglas McCallum, Honorable Mayor, so he ran the election on Surrey Police Force issue. During his campaigning, in his platform for all the issues, he clearly mentioned that if he is going to be in power, he is going to bring Surrey Police Service in real, and it will be implemented, and it will start serving the people of Surrey. You joined his coalition, and you were the part of his, power sharing and all that. Why did you join at that time, and then why you went against it?
So I can answer both of those questions. First of all, we did not run as a priority. And people often say that, but I can tell you, because I was there, about week 2 of the election, our campaign manager said to us, this is not the one we can run on. And we virtually dropped it. So as much as people keep saying that, that's because that's the view that the mayor would like you to believe. Having said that, we did know that we were going to be reviewing the RCMP contract. We did know that we were going to be moving that forward and looking at new options for policing in the city of Surrey. When it came to the vote, if you remember, it came at a very odd time, which was the day of inauguration. Councillor Handel at that time said he would support it, and Jack and I had spoke about this a lot before before that happened. We will support that, provided it provides better policing and is cost effective. That has never been demonstrated. The process has been flawed from day one. And I remember very early in the, probably by about the first year, Premier Horgan coming out and saying the Surrey police transition is a hornet's nest. There is no doubt about it. Did he ever get that one right? It has been a hornet's nest from day one. It's been a lack of due process from day one. And it's been held tightly in secret in the mayor's office. That is no way to develop public policy. I would never, ever support that as a politician, period. That is not due diligence. That is not us doing our job. And it was just absolutely inappropriate.
So you think that, earlier you joined the mayor, thinking that Surrey Police Service will not be that much expensive, and it will be serving the people, and then you came to know that it's not a right decision, then you came out of the power faction.
It absolutely hasn't been the right decision. We know that absolutely, because the cost that is going to be imposed on this city is something that is completely unaffordable. Experts are telling us it will be more than $250 million.
So it means that when you joined Doug McCallum, so you were not aware of all these things, but when you joined them and he has hidden everything from you and he did not explain you anything.
Well, we didn't get to participate in the dialogue, and certainly I think that in order for me to do my due diligence, I would have expected, as I would have when I was an MLA, you always got all the information in front of you. You get feasibility studies, you get the cost-benefit analysis, and you get the impact studies. That has never been done for this process, not once.
Okay, now coming to you again. Councillor Mandeep Nagra was on air in this show, and in fact sitting on the same chair where you are sitting today. I asked him, do you have enough money to run this Surrey Police Service? He said, yes, we already had so much of money available to set up the administrative procedures and the infrastructure and everything. And what you have to say about this?
Well, we haven't seen the budget. The public hasn't seen the budget for 2022. I would have thought that budget would have been out by now. It has not. We know that the cost for just the one thing alone, the IT, that cost alone is at least 4 times what was budgeted, maybe as many as 10 times what was budgeted. So we have significant problems. We have all kinds of problems with issues around indemnification, with just the very fact that we get 10% back from the federal government. That's significant. You know, that's about $15 million over 1 year. Over 10-year span, it's $150 million that the federal government contributes back to the city. We have no way in my mind of recouping that kind of money.
Brenda, you know that Surrey Police Service has hired more than 100 officers now. Most of them are sitting in the offices and doing work on their tables, on their computers. And if you had time to go through the interview with Mr. Norm Lipinski that I conducted on this show, on this radio station, and the link I have sent to Ivan, and the link is available on YouTube. So I asked him the same question that you told me, that you have given a bill of around $21,000 for the number of hours that you spent on your job other than your regular hours from 9 to 5 as this overtime pay and all that. And he said, it's a normal thing, like I'm manager like other city services, and all the other city services managers, they also submit the overtime bill. I have also submitted that. And now the news is that 50 Surrey Police Service officers are going to start patrolling along with RCMP. And in that interview, he admitted that Surrey Police Service will not be able to operate independently, and they will require the help of RCMP for at least coming 12 to 14 months. So what you have to say about all this? Well, so much of money has been spent so far.
Well, on the overtime issue alone, I can tell you that I've talked to a few independent police chiefs throughout Metro Vancouver. None of them that I understand receive overtime, and they were actually kind of shocked to find that a chief would get overtime. I mean, it's hard to figure why he would get overtime when really they are producing very little, and they're certainly not policing the city. So that's one issue. In terms of the general expenses and what's going on with policing in general and the RCMP, they are the officer in charge of the RCMP is still in charge of Surrey Police Service. He is the overall chief in Surrey.
Okay. Let us say in the next civic election, the present mayor will go away and some new mayor and some new councillor, new slate will come into power, and they will be in favor of keeping the RCMP in Surrey. What about the expenditure that the city of Surrey has spent on this infrastructure of Surrey Police Service, and the pays and the hiring, and the vehicles have been purchased? One vehicle, I think it's costing around 75,000. I think 7-9 vehicles have been purchased. You may be knowing the exact number. Mm-hmm. And the other thing, so many police officers from either Vancouver Police Department, Delta Police Department, they have resigned from their positions and they have joined Surrey Police Force. What will happen?
Well, I mean, certainly with anything like the capital costs, so police vehicles, for example, those can always be taken into inventory. That is never going to be a loss, ever. And many of the other issues that are hard costs, so any capital costs can always be rebrought into Surrey, into either the RCMP or the fire service or some other department. Surrey's a very large city, so you can only imagine we use a lot of capital expenditures, and so that's not ever going to be a loss. Mm-hmm. In terms of the staff, we will have to look at ways of remodeling them and bringing them back into the fold of whatever that looks, whether that's an enhanced bylaws or maybe talk to the RCMP and see if there's a way
Brenda,
of integrating them
I don't
back.
agree with you that this will not be a loss. The loss will be there. The loss in terms of time is money. The loss in terms of energy, that is a loss. And the officers have resigned from their respective police forces and they have joined here. The thing is that all of us, all the politicians are listening to this interview. All of us should take care into consideration that we are wasting valuable time of the residents of Surrey by discussing and dividing the community into all these issues. Some days back, I went to a plaza in 152 and 66th Avenue. I hope that some of the city officers or bylaw officers are listening to this interview. So I saw there a pile of garbage in all the corners of that plaza. I clicked the pictures and I sent those pictures to Councillor Mandeep Nagra on his WhatsApp. He asked me which location. I told him the location, and I requested him to do something about this. And I had a talk show with my senior journalist friend on this issue, that why, we are having so much garbages in different plazas in Surrey. Why? What has happened to us? This is a beautiful country. This is a beautiful city. Why our bylaw officers and city officers, they are not concerned about this and they are fighting about the other things, And you people were going to be on the show today morning. I walked to that plaza yesterday evening again. I clicked the pictures. I wanted to send it to you. I did not. The situation is the same.
Jez Winters sends me the pictures. I will get them to bylaws immediately. And our bylaws
and the bylaw vehicles are moving there, They just passed by me. It's a plaza in 152 and 66th Avenue. It's a new plaza being, 1-2 building has been constructed and the other buildings are being constructed. A new, that banquet hall Reflections is in that plaza.
I will definitely get that to bylaws, and I will do that today, absolutely. And then please follow up with me in a couple of days if you say not removed. I do want to talk about the issue of waste of time, because I do take your comments seriously. There has been a large waste of time and a large focus by this city, singularly and only on the police transition. There is so much we need to do in this city, a city that is growing, that is as robust and dynamic as Surrey. We have spent way too much time on the police transition and way too much money on the police transition. There's no question about that.
Yvonne, Surrey is a multi-ethnicity, multicultural city, but I'm sorry to say, on these issues, we have divided community. Some leaders of South Asian community, they claim that all the South Asian community people are with them on Surrey Police Force. And that Wake Up Surrey is such an organization which claims that, the people of Surrey from Punjabi community, from Indian community, from South Asian community, they are supporting Surrey Police Service. And, instead of being together, Canada as our country, our homeland, our motherland, we should respect all this. And, people from different ethnicities, different races, different countries have come to this beautiful country and made this city as their home. And we are dividing people on all these issues.
You're so right, sir. It's absolutely disgusting what is happening there. And when I go back now, and I look at the petition that we've just submitted, I would say at least 10 to 15 to maybe even 20% of those people that signed that petition, first of all, for a referendum, are clearly from the South Asian community, and they're very supportive of the democratic way.
So you claim this?
Oh, absolutely, yes, sir.
20%?
Absolutely, no question in my mind.
15,000, around 15,000?
Yes, absolutely. And when we did this for our last petition way back, which wasn't an official petition, but we got 50,000 people in there, at least 20% of those people were exactly of the same thought, and there were such pleasant people coming up saying, "Yes, we want this to happen. We want this." There was no discussion about where you were, etc. We were all Canadians at that stage. We were all Surrey people at that stage.
We are Canadians first of all.
Absolutely, yes. And as soon as people realize that there are people out there with an agenda to try and take over the system for their own benefit, and to the extent of manipulating and influencing and working the whole system for themselves, people will wake up, and in the next municipal election, I can tell you quite clearly now, I believe that there will be a much bigger vote than before, and people will come out and say, we do not want what.
So you say that all these people, the politicians from South Asian community who claim that the people from South Asian origin, they are supporting Surrey Police Force. So you claim that no, out of them, around 15,000 people supported to keep the RCMP in Surrey.
Exactly.
So Ivan, it's on record, you claim that.
Yes, I do.
Okay.
I really
Brenda, in the last campaigning for BC Liberals, Andrew Wilkinson was a very weak leader for BC Liberals, and BC Liberals is shattered now. It's totally in ruins, and I don't know whether it's going to be reconstructed or not. So you were part of that campaigning. So let me know, what was the stand of Andrew Wilkinson during that election for keeping the RCMP in Surrey, or he was in the favor of police force, Surrey Police Force?
Actually, I wasn't involved in the campaign in the last provincial election. I'm a local government.
But you must have some idea about BC Liberals' stand on Surrey Police Force.
Well, they did support the referendum. I do know that in the last.
They supported RCMP referendum.
They supported the referendum for people to have their voice, and that's the real question.
No, can I ask you about this? I know that you are a councillor, but again, you were with BC Liberals. I'm just asking you, what was the stand of Andrew Wilkinson, whether it was in favor of RCMP to keep it in Surrey, or it was in the favor of Surrey Police Force?
Honestly, Jaswinder, I don't know the answer to that. I only talked to him about the referendum, and so I the referendum has always been about having a choice. And from day one, we have said, I have said, Jack Hundal has said, we want the citizens to have their voice. And that's really all this is about. And I just want to jump off of something that you talked to Ivan about, and that's the politics of division that's happened in Surrey, and I think it's tragedy. It is a tragedy.
Everything is about politics.
Yes, but you know what? We all really are Canadians. We're all Surrey people.
So, these people are using politics to, do the personal scores with each other. They are not using politics for some constructive things. They are not using politics to do some good to the city. Like the example I told you, they have the time to go to hockey matches. They have the time to go to some other cultural events. They have the time to go to some other exhibitions. But they don't have the time to convey to the Surrey bylaw officers to go check there and tell the responsible authorities to take the garbage out of the parking lots. And then the city of Surrey have, hundreds of Surrey bylaw officers, and each and every bylaw officer has been given a vehicle. And they get so much of money by ticketing the people for the traffic violations. But they are not, taking care of the other things. They are like white elephants,
Well, I have to say, and I'm going to just defend the bylaw officers a little bit. They can only do what they're ordered to do. And all the orders in Surrey right now come from the top.
Who is responsible?
It comes from the top.
It's more than 30 days. I sent these pictures to Councillor Mandeep Nagra.
And I'm going to phone that in as soon as I leave here.
You can come with me after the show, and I can show you that plaza. I was there yesterday evening. And that plaza is going to be the biggest plaza like Pyle Business Centre in coming 2-3 years. The biggest banquet hall of Surrey has been constructed there, Reflections.
I will make the phone call, absolutely, Jeswinder, and I'm sorry that hasn't been dealt with. That's not good enough.
So Ivan, we people, the common people, we don't know whom to say, whom to talk. And the similar way, the people are going to be confused. When after 30th of November they will call 911, they don't know whether Surrey Police Services officer will come on their door or RCMP will come on their doors.
That is an amazing thing to happen there, because I don't know where any trust is going to come along, because when I phone for 911 now, I want an RCMP guy there. I want somebody that I can trust and I can know who it is. I don't want somebody else coming there who I've never met in my life before, or is just in a different uniform, whatever it is. What is he about? Who does he respond to? Who is he responsible for? What does he do? How can I trust that person to get this thing across? So that's a very, very big concern of mine.
Brenda, you know what happened? Andrew Willickson, he was in favor of, Surrey Police Service in the initial days, that the reports that I have. Then, because of Marvin Hunt and, some other candidates, so he, released some news about that he's going to support RCMP. Then he retracted from his own decision. Then there was a diplomatic answer that the people of Surrey, they have to decide whether they want RCMP in Surrey or they want Surrey Police Service. So they changed the plans. They were not sure what to do, and it resulted in a loss for Marvin Hunt. It resulted in a loss for Dr. Guljar Chima. They lost all the seats that were stronghold for BC Liberals, because they were not sure what to do, what to offer to people. The people of Surrey are intelligent. They know, anyone can't fool them.
You're absolutely right.
I agree.
People just want to know the truth. And that's really, at the end of the day, what this will all boil down to. What is the truth? What is the truth about the cost? What is the truth about the number of officers they're going to have? What is the reason we're changing the police force? Is there a good reason? We don't know any of those truths, not at all. So until some of those are out there and presented to the public, I don't know how anybody could be supporting this. It is There is only one thing we can do right now, and that is to ask for a referendum. The citizens should have their voice, and they want to know the truth. They certainly want to know the cost truth, and they certainly want to know the public safety.
ਸੋ ਤੇ ਅਸੀਂ ਗੱਲਬਾਤ ਕਰ ਰਹੇ ਹਾਂ ਇਵਾਨ ਸਕਾਟ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ, ਜਿਹੜੇ ਕਿ ਕੀਪ ਦਾ RCMP ਇਨ ਸਰੀ ਕੈਂਪੇਨ ਦੇ ਟੀਮ ਲੀਡਰ ਨੇ ਔਰ ਇਹਦੇ ਸੰਸਥਾਪਕ ਨੇ। ਨਾਲ ਦੀ ਨਾਲ ਸਾਡੇ ਸਰੀ ਦੇ ਰੇਡੀਓ ਇੰਡੀਆ ਦੇ ਸਟੂਡੀਓ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਸਰੀ ਤੋਂ ਕਾਉਂਸਲਰ ਬ੍ਰੈਂਡਾ ਲੌਕ ਵੀ ਮੌਜੂਦ ਨੇ, ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਵੀ ਗੱਲਬਾਤ ਜਾਰੀ ਰੱਖਾਂਗੇ। ਇਵਾਨ ਐਂਡ ਬ੍ਰੈਂਡਾ, ਵੈਲਕਮ ਬੈਕ ਟੂ ਦਾ ਸ਼ੋ once again.
Thank you.
Ivan, there was a news that Honorable Mayor Douglas McCallum, he banned 7 people from the meetings of Surrey City Council, and he blamed that these people disturbed the proceedings of Surrey Council meetings and as well as disturbed the administrative officers there. And you were one of them.
I was one of them, and basically it's 6 other people who are part of the organisation of Keep the RCMP in Surrey. And these are passionate people that want to engage with McCallum and the council, and we have attempted to do that over the last 3 years, and we've been ignored completely by not having a delegation allowed, which was I think it was the first or second time that it's ever happened in this history of Surrey. And we have been silenced every time that we've come forward. And it's got to the point where we have been cut off on numerous occasions just by being a little adverse or opposition to what he has been doing. And he has not allowed any type of dissent or any type of discussion, and it just cuts us off as he wishes and doesn't allow us back in. And now he's called an injunction against us, a legal injunction against us, to make this into law. Mm-hmm. And we've got to the stage now. We can't sit back and watch this anymore. We will answer this in a legal way, and I believe that he has no hope of getting this through. And we will do our very best to fight this thing right the way through.
Another thing, city of Surrey, they have implemented a law about the lawn signs, that the residents of Surrey, they will not be allowed to put the lawn signs on Surrey on their own property, on their personal property. And some people say that it was intended towards those lawn signs that keep RCMP in Surrey, that many of the city residents were putting in their lawns. So Brenda can also add on to that, but what do you have to say about this?
Well, when I had that discussion with when Mr. McCallum accosted me at the Save on Foods a month back, he came across and said I wasn't allowed to be there, and I said, why was that? He said it was against the bylaw. I said, what bylaw is that? You're not I'm on private property here. And he said, well, our bylaws extend to every single piece of property, whether it's public or private. And I said, that's the first time I've ever heard anything as stupid as that. And so when they passed this motion in City Council that they wanted to ban these people, like myself, he has now gone even further than that, and with the signs, to say that in actual fact he does have the authority, or he wants the authority, or he can invoke the authority to take these signs away, and in actual fact then he can take anything that he likes then from people's properties. And people are saying, not a damn, you come onto this piece of property and we will fight you to the nth degree. Nobody's going to come and do that. So yes, I believe it is one of his ways of trying to close down what we're doing.
Yeah, Brenda, you want to add something?
Well, I'll just add that I asked that directly in open council. I said, is this directive to try and get to the Keep the RCMP in Surrey signs? And there was no response to that. So you have to take that silence as an affirmative, and so to me, this was definitely a directive to try and control what's happening in the city of Surrey.
Some days back, they also rejected 2 of your motions. What were they?
They rejected 2 motions. One was that we get an open and full accounting and a time frame for what is happening with TransLink and the SkyTrain process. For some reason, they didn't want to carry on with that motion, and I still, to this day, don't understand why. Seemed to make sense. Certainly, the people that live in North Surrey wanted to know what was going on with Fraser Highway. The second one was that we do council meetings as a hybrid, so that for some people who are still not comfortable coming indoors because of COVID and other things, and we know we're still now in the fourth wave, the federal government is talking about a fifth wave, that we be generous and kind to people to allow them to do the hybrid, the phone in. Many other cities are doing that right now. We are all in a learning curve that COVID is teaching us with technology.
Okay. Brenda, you did not answer to my question that I asked you earlier in the segment, that Councillor Mandeep Nagra on air in this show claimed that City of Surrey was already having enough money to establish the infrastructure and administrative procedures for Surrey Police Service. Well,
I don't know. I tell you one thing I do know, that the mayor and his team have different information than I get. So perhaps Mandeep has information that I don't have, but I can tell you we haven't seen the final budget for 2022. There is no indication from all the experts that I talk to that it is possible for Surrey to do a transition with the budget that we were given. Certainly, we are still working on the budget or on the plan from 2018 that was developed by the Vancouver Police Department. We know that was incredibly flawed, that plan, and so I am not sure where Councillor Nagra gets his information, but it's certainly not the information that I get when I talk to experts.
Okay, so you are again playing safe, that you are saying that he must be having the accurate information, but you are not having the accurate information.
I'm not going to play safe on that. I can tell you, Judge Winder, absolutely we don't get the information that the mayor's team gets. Absolutely we don't.
But Brenda, I just asked your comment about this, whether Councillor Nagra is saying the truth or not.
Oh, well, he's saying his truth. He maybe has different information than me. It's not the information I have.
Can I just sort of, from a sort of a citizen's point of view over here, he might, politicians like he will say anything that will, of course we have enough money, of course we have that sort of thing. There's no way to determine that. So whatever the truth he's trying to spout out there might be truth, that might be lies. We have no idea at this stage, looking at it from my point of view.
We do absolutely know on the IT part of it, we were so incredibly under budget. So incredibly under budget.
Then from where this money will come to spend on Surrey Police Service?
We haven't seen the budget. That's the problem. We haven't seen the plan. Ultimately, we haven't seen the plan from Chief Lipinski. And so without that plan moving forward, they can't even develop a budget. So we're still working on the budget from 2018.
Okay.
Or for the plan.
Who are the advisors on Surrey Police Service Committee?
The Surrey Police Service Board. The board.
So you don't have any right to interact with them?
No, we don't. No, we don't, and that's a huge problem, and that's a really good question, because I'll tell you why. People were told at the get-go that this was going to give the residents of Surrey more input into their policing. I think that's one of the reasons they're selling the Surrey Police Service. Nothing can be further from the truth. And I can tell you that when we did have a public safety committee at the beginning, we did have input into what was happening with the RCMP. The officer in charge of the RCMP participated with us in those meetings, as did the fire chief. We had a lot of input with public safety in Surrey. If you went to Vancouver today and asked them, they're not very happy with the system they have either, because the people that are on the board are are primarily appointed by the province. Surrey only has one person on that board. Everybody else is a provincial appointee.
So it's a strange thing, you know, you and Jack Hundal, you are elected representatives of City of Surrey residents, and you are not allowed to interact with these advisors of Surrey Police Board, and you don't know any expenditure details, you don't know any budgetary details, you know nothing.
Well, we'll know it when they bring the budget to us. You're right, we don't know. We haven't seen the budget.
And Jack Hundal is a person who is having his background as a RCMP officer for long, so he served the community for so long.
One would have thought that Councillor Hundo would have been an integral part of anything to do with the review of policing or the transition. That hasn't been the case. Somehow the mayor, Doug McCallum, thinks he's the smartest guy in the room, and so he's the one that has been doing all the direction of how this is going forward.
And just one thing that I can point out there is Mr. McCallum has not yet been able to replace Mr. Bob Rolls, who was with him right from the beginning, who then resigned because of what was happening in this thing. And you know, there was one person at least that knew something about policing. I reckon the others that are on the police board have never even been inside a police car just for a joyride. But if I can come back to one thing, Jaswinder, there about how is this going to be financed and where it's going to become. I'd just go back to the last budget. There was a parcel tax that was brought in there. Why? He needed money. My taxes went up by 11%. Everybody's taxes went up by 11%. But again, we're expecting this whole thing to roll around again. It's taxes, taxes, taxes. It's got nothing to do with proper budgetary work. It's just we'll find the money. So where Niagara says that we have enough money, it's going to come from taxes.
Yeah. The brunt has to be borne by the people of Surrey.
You know, the other challenge with it, Jaswinder, is that it's taking from other pockets too. Surrey is a rapidly growing city, and we're seeing infrastructure not being managed like it should be. We're seeing that our roads are not being kept like they should be. Where is that money going?
Yeah.
To the SPS.
Yeah, Ivan, another thing, so there was some issue with some incident in Save-On Foods in South Surrey, and where Mayor Douglas McCallum, he claimed that someone tried to run over him, and what do you have to say about this?
Well, he came to me and accosted me for the first time ever. He came and spoke to me.
It was with you?
It was with me that I wasn't a part of the driving or that sort of thing, but he came across to me after that had happened and occurred, and he came and accosted me in no uncertain terms about that I was illegal and we weren't supposed to be there, and he was attacking me, and I said to him, why are you down here as the mayor of a big city, and if you believe that the Surrey Police Service has the support of everybody in Surrey and that we are a nothing, let us get on with it and let us have a referendum and see. That will prove it. And he stormed off, and this whole thing, we are waiting for the special prosecutor to come down and give his voice on this. We believe that I will wait for that. My belief is that nothing ever happened over there, and that was just made up on his part. But we'll wait for the prosecutor to come down, because... Yeah,
but the reports were there that the investigation went on and the claims were false.
This is what I believe.
Yeah. And what you say about, giving fine tickets to the people in various places.
I was also one of those people that were fined. And
for what?
For first of all, arriving at a public place like a park, and then just setting up a little table, asking people to sign the petition, and one of our people actually took a sign out and put it next to his car, upside down, not to be used yet, and was immediately accosted by bylaws and said that you have now put a sign in this park and it's against the bylaws and we'll give you $100 ticket. And they went across to give him $100 ticket. The next day we were at Cloverdale flea market, and I was there, and we had our signs out. We were in not even in the Cloverdale flea market area. And the bylaws people came out and said that we are going to give you a ticket. And I said, why? And they said, for showing the sign over here. Now these are signs, of course, that we take across and we use for 2 hours, and then we pick it up just to show people that we are there, and then we go away. We don't leave these things there forever. They cost money, so we take them with us. And she said that she was going to, and so she gave me a $200 fine.
So they are getting money by fining people.
Yes.
Okay, Brenda, coming to the city issues again. One of my Facebook friend, Happy Goel, he sent me a picture. There is a movie promotion for one of the Punjabi movies. And their, signs have been placed on the fences on the roads of Surrey. What do you have to say about this?
If that's on city property, that sign must be removed.
It's a city property.
Yes, then it must be removed.
Then why they have not been removed for so many days? This movie was released 7 days ago.
Getting back to the whole bylaw issue, there are only 35 bylaw officers in the city of Surrey. That's pretty blatant, though. That one should absolutely be removed.
No, Brenda, it's okay. You will defend bylaws. But Happy Goel, he sent this picture 7 days ago when this movie was released. So he sent only one picture, but these signs were all over the city. And the name of the movie is, this is a Punjabi movie. So it was all over the city, and these people, the promoters of this movie, they placed the signs on city property, on the fences, on the pavements, near the pavements, and I'm just trying to discuss and find a reason that why bylaw officers are not taking care of these things. They are just ticketing people just to make money, and the other issues, other responsibilities are not taken care of. Whom we have to say? He tagged Mandeep Nagra into this post. I'm talking to you, and we don't know whom to complain. And Honorable Mayor Doug McCullum, I have his cell number. I tried calling him so many number of times. I sent him text message, I sent him WhatsApp messages. He's not responding. I want him to, come on here to discuss all these issues, but he's not coming on Radio India's show.
That particular sign that you're showing me, it also looks like it's too big to be a sign even on private property, just by visualizing it. But I would absolutely tell you that sign must be removed, and bylaws should know that. There is an app on for the city of Surrey where you can take a picture and put it in.
But Brenda, it's okay. The thing is that we as residents of city of Surrey, we may call bylaws, we may put pictures on apps and all that. We can waste our time and energy because we are good citizens. Mm-hmm. We don't want garbage in our city. We don't want these things in our city. But what are those bylaw officers doing? What is their responsibility? They have vehicles, they have expenditure on gas, they are traveling in the whole city, but why they can't see it by themselves? We had a talk show in this time hour, and we discussed about wrongful parking. And after the show, I went to my home, and on one of the street, very narrow street, a big vehicle was parked on the wrong side. Just beneath the sign, parking not allowed, no parking. And I called bylaw people, and the people sitting on the phone, they were so rude. They wanted to know each and every detail. I told the lady that, I just passed by. I can see the color of the truck, I can see the make of the truck. I could not find the license plate, but it's just beneath the sign on this street, on this avenue, where the city of Surrey has put a sign that no parking. So it's beneath. So no one came there, for so many hours. The truck was still there, and I did not have the time to call them again.
I appreciate you saying that, and I'm going to say something that is kind of concerning to me. That wouldn't happen in South Surrey. So you won't see in South Surrey some of the streets junked up with signs, with people parking illegally, because people will phone it in and it will be dealt with.
And I'm again saying that. Why? Because Surrey is full of South Asian people. That's why people of Surrey are discriminated against residents of South Surrey. This is the general assumption by the people, because South Asian people think that they have the power, they have the voting power, they can make MLAs, they can make mayor, they can make councillors, and they can make all the MPs. But the truth is this: if the people in Surrey, they are not treated like equally with the people in South Surrey. Yeah, Ivan, please.
Well, you got to remember that the mayor lives in South Surrey, sir.
Yeah, that's the reason. Yeah, Brenda, but it's a very sad affair,
It is, and this is where the equity is a concern to me, because everybody wants their neighborhood to look nice. Everybody wants to have parking appropriately. They want to have public safety. It doesn't matter if you're in Newton or Fraser Heights or Cloverdale or South Surrey or Ocean Park.
So I gave you 3 examples. This sign, the picture I have shown to you, taken by Happy Goel. The other thing I called, the record will be there in the bylaws from my name, if they can search that I called for that traffic violation. Mm-hmm. And the third one is the garbage in that plaza. So why, Ivan, we are discussing this? Because the energy of officials of city of Surrey, whether councillors, whether mayor or the bylaws or other people, it should be directed towards these issues, but we are wasting energy, money and time on these issues, whether to keep RCMP in Surrey or on Surrey Police Service.
Jaswinder, we have an absolutely adequate police force here at the moment. They are the best police force in the world. And McCallum wants to throw them out for his agenda and whoever else's agenda is there. Mm-hmm. And I object to that. I think it's absolutely un-Canadian on our part to do something like that to the icon that we have. And I must agree with you, Jaswinder. I've been travelling the city now, up and over and around about, and so it saddens me to see what you're telling me here. The garbage, the way that the grass is growing everywhere. It's starting to look like a third world country, to be quite honest, in certain areas, and it saddens me because it's not what I want to see. It's not what other people want. Yes, I agree with you 100% that we need to clean up our act over here and get our priorities right. We do have a very adequate police service here right now. We've been here for 70 years. They've shown us loyalty and we're not showing them any type of loyalty.
Okay, now a question to both of you. Now you have signatures of 42,942 people. Are you people going to meet the MPs, the MLAs on this, that whether they are going to support you on this or not? Have you planned to meet Sukh Dhaliwal? Have you planned to meet Randeep Sarai? Have you planned to meet John Aldog?
I don't know, because this is not my game. This is Darlene Bennett's thing. I think that there is a plan to do that, and to do that very, very quickly, because they're going to be appealing to the government to do something about this, to recognise that, and yes, we have to hold these people accountable and find out where they're going on that, and that sort of thing.
Okay, Brenda, do you think that BC provincial government is going to do something on this now?
I think the provincial cabinet has to look at this seriously. I think the MLAs locally have to know that this is serious in Surrey. As you said, this is an awful lot of residents in the city, and every single riding in Surrey, every single riding is at risk if these people get activated in the next provincial election. This must be on their plate, and they must look at it. I do think that the provincial government must be the provincial cabinet must be concerned. They do have the power and they do have the authority to demand a referendum. It is the right thing to do, and I think they should move forward. I don't think they can just ignore it. Certainly, Elections BC can, but the provincial cabinet cannot.
Ivan, what to sum up?
Well, to sum up, as I said, and I think we do have a perfectly good police force here, as I say, which has shown us what they've been able to do over the COVID, etc. These guys have worked their butts off, and to the extent of harming themselves. They've been working 18-hour days to make sure that we are safe during COVID, and they've done a marvelous job out of that. And they've never been given the thanks that they have generated there. McCallum comes out and gives them thanks, gives his own police force thanks, but yet he comes out and calls these people very poorly trained murderers, and that is what he did say on his Safe Surrey Facebook page and that sort of thing, and that is disgusting. The way that he can just come out there and then not take responsibility for it. He says that that it wasn't him that said that. I don't care that he didn't say that. He is the head of that organization, and therefore the buck stops there. So I don't believe anything that comes out of his mouth these days, and I believe that I hope that the provincial government has some what shall I say, the guts to get on behind this thing now and oppose this idea of having the SPS here, because the people do not want it.
Okay, and Brenda?
We have a great city. We have to get the politics of division put away. We have to get people's special agendas put away and start working together as a city. We have seen greatness in Surrey, just like what happened in the last couple of days with the folks at the Gurdwara sending 3,000 meals to Abbotsford and to Hope to help people out. We're like that in Surrey. Surrey has great people. We can build a fabulous city, but we can't do it when you don't trust your leadership. And right now, there's a void there. The Surrey Police Service will not get off the ground because there is no trust. And it just will not happen. The folks of Surrey don't trust them. They don't trust the chief, and they don't trust the mayor. And that's very evident by what has just happened with this vote.
Thank you very much, Ivan, once again to be part of the show. And you traveled from South Surrey and especially came to the studio in Surrey. And Brenda, as usual, you are again here for the third time on the show. Thank you very much for sparing your time and discussing all the issues. And I hope that whatever issues with concerning with City of Surrey authorities we have conveyed to you, they will be taken care of in coming days. Thank you very much.
Jaswinder, thank you as always, and for your very always bold questions. I certainly appreciate them. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much from our point of view and from my organisation by allowing us to give our perspective on this.
Thank you very much, both of you.